The atmosphere in Rome was electric. The Eternal City had not seen such a moment in years. Pilgrims from every corner of the globe had gathered, their hearts filled with hope and expectation. The streets buzzed with voices, whispers of prayer, bursts of excitement, and quiet conversations about the future. A monumental event was about to unfold, one that would be etched into the pages of history. St. Peter's Square gleamed under the golden rays of the sun. Millions stood together, shoulder to shoulder, their eyes fixed on the Vatican. The ancient walls seemed to embrace the faithful, holding within them the weight of centuries past. Yet this was a new dawn, a turning point that would shape the future of the Church. A hush fell over the crowd as all eyes turned toward the balcony. This was the place where history had been made countless times before. And now, it was about to happen again. The moment had arrived. Then, Pope Tagle stepped forward. The first Asian pontiff in the Church's long history. His presence was humble yet commanding. As he lifted his hand in greeting, a wave of emotion spread through the crowd. Gasps filled the air. Some wept, overcome with joy. Others clapped and cheered, their voices rising in celebration. They knew they were witnessing history. His face was calm, but his eyes reflected a deep strength, the kind that comes from a lifetime of service. He was a man who had walked among the poor, listened to the suffering, and dedicated himself to lifting up the forgotten. His presence alone spoke volumes, but it was his words that would set the course for the Church's future. His voice, steady yet passionate, rang out over the square. He spoke of love, of unity, of a church that welcomed all, regardless of race, background, or past. He did not merely talk about faith, he spoke of action, a call to serve, a mission to uplift, a challenge to be the hands and feet of Christ in a broken world. His message was unmistakable. The Church must evolve. It must confront its past, acknowledge its mistakes, and move forward with a commitment to truth and justice. Pope Tagle did not shy away from the difficult realities. He addressed the pain of those who had been betrayed by the very institution meant to protect them. He called for transparency, accountability, and real change. His words did not just echo through the square. They sank deep into the hearts of those listening. Every phrase carried meaning. Every sentence held weight. He spoke of healing, not as a distant hope, but as a necessary step toward renewal. The wounds of history could not be ignored. They had to be acknowledged so they would never be repeated. But Pope Tagle's vision extended beyond the Church. He turned his focus to the suffering of the world, poverty, injustice, and oppression. He reminded the faithful that their duty was not only to pray, but to act, to stand beside the poor, to challenge systems that valued profit over people, to be a light in a world darkened by greed and division. His voice carried a conviction that could not be ignored. The Church, he declared, must be a force for justice. It could not remain silent in the face of suffering. It must defend the defenseless, uplift the forgotten, and fight for a world where compassion triumphed over cruelty. The response was immediate. The square erupted in applause. Tears flowed freely. Some clutched their rosaries, whispering prayers of gratitude. Others simply stood still, knowing they had just witnessed a defining moment in history. Pope Tagle had set the tone for his leadership. A pope unafraid of change, a shepherd willing to walk with his people no matter the challenges ahead. The world had heard his call. Now the question remained, would it rise to meet the challenge?